join us this week. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. A pleasure to have you rejoin us on Dateline 360 as we turn attention to that source of energy anticipated to become the world's largest source of electricity by 2050, solar power. Hamza Musa Makarfi leads the team this edition with an overview on the deployment of renewable energy options for power generation, with special focus on solar power.
Well, how the deployment of renewable energy options for power generation is sustaining global attention, and there are many of these sources talking about wind, water, solar, biomass, and geothermal. In fact, data collected by the worldwide electricity production puts solar and wind topping the list. In fact, in 2013, 25.4 gigawatts of electricity was generated through the renewable energy options. The reasons for the shift include carbon emissions reduction, providing energy balance, increased security in supply, and competitiveness. Overall, renewable energy deployment is expected to provide 35% in power generation mix by 2020 worldwide. In Nigeria, the projection is 40% in the next 13 years, according to the Renewable Energy Association of Nigeria. But how is the government and its critical partners walking the talk in a bid to achieve the milestones of energy diversification? Investigations show that of the 600 million people worldwide lacking access to power supply, 85 million are Nigerians in rural and urban areas. Their access to power supply is compounded due to the absence of national grid infrastructure and the failure of policies in the past.
So far, the global community is very far from most local communities. So the way forward is that we cannot continue to wait for the discourse to get to them. That will be a pipe dream. Let there be a deliberate policy to determine the real needs. The needs are simple but very effective. Power in the local communities will make a lot of change to agriculture, to education, and to the general well-being of the people.
Project developers and renewable energy enterprises, as well as promoters, now see a golden opportunity with government support to provide access through on-grid or off-grid solar solutions.
Electricity from solar energy, I think it's something that almost all communities worldwide are now driving towards. And we have good intensities of solar energy, and therefore the higher the intensity, it drives costs down. It drives costs down, and I think we should take advantage of that.
Under the Power Sector Recovery Plan, government also commits to increasing access, especially in rural areas of Nigeria. Government relies on the Rural Electrification Agency and development partners to implement the policy, as the private sector also does its part.
So this isn't just a case of delivering a piece of solar technology. So the market is enormous. There are 600 million off-grid customers in Africa right now, and Africa is the only region in the world where the number of people off-grid is actually growing and will continue to grow up to 2030, because population growth is outstripping the rate of supply of electricity.
The National Integrated Power Project, NIPP, has joined with the inauguration of a pilot scheme in Wuna community of the Federal Capital Territory and intends to provide 20,000 of solar home systems in selected areas of Nigeria. The states are into partnerships to deploy solar in their rural areas.
Help them to acquire land and get communities involved, minimize risk for the development partners so that they can easily come in and we'll have electricity from solar energy. The good thing is that government is listening. Government is working towards achieving what is in the national energy policy. Need to diversify our energy sources.
In addition, the government is also looking at the larger picture to increase grid capacity with 1,200 megawatts from solar energy generation by 12 firms. The firms are on the field to bring the projects to fruition. But as the government also drives the initiative of using sources like wind and solar, there are concerns on the huge expenditure to import technology or other infrastructure that can service the need of the government. And I'm sure you should have a clear understanding of how that will deplete scarce resources of the nation. However, there are options that can be explored, particularly in the production of solar photovoltaic panels that are used to generate power from sunlight.
Sure, Hamza, local production of solar infrastructure has been identified as a major factor that will reduce exorbitant initial installation cost and expanded project deployment. And that's the focus of our next report by Ahmed Ambali, which highlights the capability of the Karshi solar panel plant in solar energy playing a pivotal role in the energy mix.
My visit to the Karshi solar panel plant comes at a time Nigerians are groaning under the throes of inadequate power supply.
When you check the meter now, you will see the money that will load for how many months. Is there? Nobody is using it because they are not used to give us the light. It's Gen that will buy.
Accumulating debt owed gas companies and sabotage of power and gas installations have brought about power shortages with output said to be around 2,000 megawatts. I wanted to find out if solar technology, touted as an alternative energy source, could provide a leeway for Nigerians. The 40-man strong solar panel plant in Karshi is up and running. Here, I get to see the first solar panel produced in September 2011. I'm told after it, many more have passed through the production line.
We don't only produce the solar PVs, the panels as you call it. I showed you a facility now where we have a 1.5 kVA that can survive a modern barber shop.
At its inception in the year 2011, the Karshi solar panel manufacturing plant had an installed capacity of 7.5 megawatts per annum. In the 6 years of its existence, it has struggled to meet that figure, no thanks to low patronage, even on the part of those who want Nigerians to adopt solar technology.
We have tried to reach out to government institutions, but there is still reluctance on the part of the MDAs.
And then there is the matter of the cost of solar technology itself. Long lifespan or not, it still remains far from the reach of ordinary Nigerians.
And if we are able to finish the solar cells manufacturing plant, then they would cut out for over 60% of production cost. That's going to bring it down. And so that those who are talking about affordability on individual basis, they will see that no, it's not that expensive.
However, with greater commitment on the part of government, expectations are that solar energy might just help in lighting up Nigeria. Ahmed Ambali.
Lighting up Nigeria, Ahmed, that's the way to go. A way which holds the key to full industrialization of the country and emancipation from poverty. Now to Sokoto in northwest Nigeria, where Muhammad Nasir links the synergy between research institutes and entrepreneurs to domesticate research findings in the development of the technology.
Sun, which is the ultimate source of solar, thermal and photovoltaic energy, remains a powerful tool for socio-economic development of every society. This can be attested to by the commitment of research institutes working in solar energy, like Sokoto Energy Research Center, which has 5 megawatt production plant, and its Naseni counterpart in Abuja.
That implies that we produce 10 megawatts of solar photovoltaic cells per annum. So that will actually go a long way in reducing the cost of materials. If you flash back as far back as early 80s, 90s, One solar module used to cost about 70,000 naira. Equivalent of such solar module today costs about 24,000 naira. So you can see the cost reduction in terms of materials. So, and I believe we can achieve more.
Sokoto Energy Research Center, situated in Usman Nampolo University, Sokoto, has 5 megawatt solar photovoltaic production plant. What should be done to expand the capability of the center to produce more than 5 megawatt of solar photovoltaic?
We have also another similar plant which is yet to be installed, 5 megawatts. So you can see that we can increase our production capacity to 10 megawatts. So impliedly, other agencies can also come on board to actually complement the effort of Sokoto Energy Research Center, just like Naseni, our sister center, is doing.
The center had, under a pilot scheme, provided 2 villages of Kolkolawa and Danjawa with electricity through solar energy.
Virtually all the energy mix we are into, biogas, solar thermal, and solar photovoltaic in that particular community, which is still in use up to now by that particular community. So these are things that can be scaled up for larger communities and probably factories and companies to use them. It will be solely depend on solar energy. It can be achieved through research and development, which we have done, and they are ready for commercialization to the open market.
Devices like solar heater, cooler, and dryer produced locally can contribute toward reducing conventional energy consumption and improve domestication of technology, which invariably generates employment opportunities for Nigerians.
These technologies need constant follow-up and also improvement. So that is what we need. We need to be very serious. If we are serious, some countries have gone far. China, India have advanced their technology in this simple wood stove and biogas. Why can't we do it?
Energy experts believe that improved funding of research, creating awareness, and showcasing research products facilitate rapid development of the country in the sector.
Nigeria has the capacity to produce locally made materials using solar energy. For instance, this is solar dryer produced locally here in Sokoto State, which has the capacity of drying agricultural product of 50 kilograms. If this innovation should be supported and funded effectively, the much needed development could be achieved. I am Muhammad Nasir, reporting for Dateline 360.
Needed development, Nasir, which Nigeria deserves at this time, especially for rural settings to scale down rural-urban drift and accelerate small-scale businesses. And talking about the many benefits of the solar system, the people of Wuna community in Gwagwalada Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory knew the sun has several uses as it rises and sets daily. However, the latest benefits of the sun to their community, it's one that's changing their lives. Lydia Sampson is our guide on this journey of rediscovery.
Over 137 years old, Wuna village in Gwagwalada Area Council of the FCT, though very close to the city and civilization, is still a typical rural setting. The roofs of houses in Wuna community look different these days. Most are adorned by a new gadget. They are solar panels. For decades, electricity was a luxury to them. The people knew about public power supply from the national power grid, but it was virtually non-existent in Wuna community. On the other hand, the sun always shone brightly here. The people, however, had no way of knowing that it could solve their power problems. Now they know their energy needs are being met by solar power. The village head, Yusuf Isa, recalls how it used to be and what it is now.
Before we charge our phone, we used to watch Mr. B, his one is run down. Mr. C, his one is run down. We gather it, carry it to Gwagwalada, but it's no more again.
Mariam Solomon is one of the women in the community whose homes are now powered by solar energy. Mariamu and her husband, Solomon Zaka, welcomed us into their home.
And then our children that don't feel read book, our woman they are going to cook the food for me.
For their daughter, who is a tailor, the presence of electricity will make a whole world of difference to our business.
Before, I know they work in the night.
Why now?
Because in the night, I know they see it. But now, we get solar. Now they use now, in the night, at the work.
At the local primary school, it is a new experience for the pupils too. 12-year-old Dorothy Emmanuel is one of the excited pupils who have a new world open to them.
When the president came to commission the solar, the fan is starting working and then the class is very cool.
It is not just about the improvement in the learning environment. The introduction of the children to solar technology opens up new frontiers in the scope of learning. One of the youths in the village has been trained to maintain the solar panels so that the community can manage the system on their own. The Solar Home System project was introduced to Wuna under a federal government program. Each household is expected to pay the sum of 1,900 naira per month over a 3-year period to defray the costs. Even before this comes to pass, the people of Wuna, having seen the light, are asking for more, like the proverbial olive tree.
We are begging government to help us. I'll bring the one that we can watch this television using this in the funk. That's why we are begging government to bring that up, the one that is in our primary school.
Solar energy is gaining more popularity in Nigeria as communities like Wuna get to know that the sun can provide light both in the day and at night. The abundance of sunshine, increasing simplicity of solar technology, lowering costs of components, and the relatively lower maintenance costs makes solar system more attractive. With the installation of the solar power, the people here are simply harnessing the power of the sun to make a difference. Mariamo and the Wuna community are bearing testimonies to this. Lydia Sampson.
Over 100-year-old, but experiencing a new lease of life as first to benefit from the federal government's home solar power system. Light at the end of the tunnel indeed, Lydia. Many thanks. And now to our last reports on the way forward in boosting the energy security map of Nigeria. Mie Ogidi closes the shop on this edition.
Nigeria is one country that is naturally endowed with many renewable sources of energy. Prominent among are wind and solar. And experts in this sector are of the view that if the government invests in this sector, it will improve the energy generation capacity of the country and other environment-friendly activities.
If those in the temperate regions are harnessing solar and we are in the tropics, we should harness it more. So I encourage that Nigerians should focus on renewable energy because that's the key. If we show strong commitment, if we harness the potentials of, there are NGOs who are really out and selling some of these products that local farmers can use, local households can use. So let's have a synergy. Rather than compartmentalize it in one ministry, let's synergize. Let's use the platform of the Interministerial Committee to address the problem of renewable energy.
With the signing of the Paris Agreement, you know, in that particular document, we committed to reducing emissions by 20% below business as usual by the year 2030, unconditionally. So, one of the ways is to go renewable, to reduce emissions from the energy sector. We have 5 priority sectors, including agri, oil and gas, power, industry, and transportation. So all these major emitting sectors have to see how they can implement the NDC.
Seeing this sector as a major contributor in the energy mix drive of Nigeria, the federal government, through the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, has set a target for itself.
We seek to achieve 30% of renewable energy by the year 2030. Most of that renewable energy will come from solar, it will come from biomass, it will come from all forms of sustainable energy sources that reduces our dependence on first gas, which is very prolific for delivering power, but also gives the country and energy security so that no part of the nation is able to hold the country to ransom in future.
The mini solar plant in Wuse Market, Abuja, the 20-megawatt solar farm in Katsina State, and the 10 mini solar plants by the Chinese International Corporation JICA spread across Nigeria test to the viability and the complementary role of the renewable energy sector in the country. For instance, the 1.2 megawatt solar plant at the Federal Capital Territory Water Board saves the board over 31 million naira annual electricity bill, while the 20 megawatt solar farm in Katsina has improved the socio-economic standings of the communities which are not connected to the national grid. The journey to achieving energy mix in the country to address the electricity demands of over 40,000 megawatts, experts say, needs the active participation of both the private and the public sector. And the consumer must also be prepared to accept the technology that is in vogue. Mie Ogidi for Dateline 360.
A cleaner and more sustainable option, Mie, and with so many advantages for individual, corporate bodies, and most importantly, the environment. The shortcomings of Nigeria's energy sector, no doubt, demand the exploration and adoption of alternative power sources. In 2011, the International Energy Agency said the development of affordable and clean solar energy technologies will increase countries' energy security through reliance on an indigenous, inexhaustible, and mostly import-independent resource, enhance stability, reduce pollution, lower cost of mitigating global warming, and keep fossil fuel prices lower than otherwise. And these advantages are global. With the future of solar energy set to be bright, perhaps the assertion that it's time for the human race to enter the solar system may just be yesterday. For commentators, expanding the latest federal government solar initiative for rural off-grid communities to cover more areas, as well as addressing research findings and deployment, could just be the springboard. Send your comments, questions and suggestions to Dateline 360 at nta.ng or at NTA News Now. Many thanks for your company. Bye for now.